Hello everyone, my name is Amanda Waltart and you are here with Amanda's InspirationStation.com. If you are watching me on my YouTube channel, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching me on my blog at Amanda'sInspirationStation.com or my Facebook pages, thank you so much. I would also love for you to follow me and subscribe to those as well. I have a fabulous set of cards today that we are going to make two of, and I'm super excited about them. We have currently going on right now with Stampin' Up our celebration, and there is a stamp set in there called A Touch of Ink, and this is free with a $100 purchase before shipping and tax. And I had this sitting on my desk for quite a few days, and every time I pulled it out and I started creating something with it, I wasn't liking it at all. I was having a hard time creatively with this stamp set. So I still had it on my table, and yesterday I was like, you know what, I need to make some cards, some welcome to my team cards. So my Stampin' Up team is called the Crafty Cats, and I wanted to go ahead and make some welcome cards because when someone purchases the starter kit and joins our Crafty Cats team, I give them a card and then I also give them a packet full of goodies. And so I pulled this stamp set out, which is called Let's Create Together. This is a stamp set currently, but it is only for Stampin' Up demonstrators. So this is not available to purchase unless you are a Stampin' Up demonstrator. But I wanted this sentiment that said welcome, and then I put on the cards, I put welcome to the Stampin' Up family, to our team. And that way I could fill these out as people purchase the starter kit. And I loved how they turned out, because I was like, I had both of these sitting next to each other and I was like, okay, Amanda, you can do this. So these are the cards I came up with. So I decided I'm going to do a video on them because I love how bright and vibrant and pretty they are. We're going to make two of the cards, but we're not going to do it for a team, because if you are not a Stampin' Up demonstrator, you cannot purchase that stamp set. And I want you to be able to use something that you have, which you can do any sentiment on the bottom. But I thought we would go ahead and use another celebration stamp set called Heal Your Heart. You can do whatever you want, but we're just going to make them into thank you cards. So I always can use tons and tons of thank you cards, but you could make these as birthday cards, sympathy cards, thinking of you cards, hey friend. I mean, honestly, you could make these into any card with the exception of maybe like holidays, obviously. So this one here is with Cherry Cobbler. I love how this turned out. It is so pretty. This one here I made with pumpkin pie. Then we did Rich Razzleberry, which purples are one of my favorite colors. So, of course, I love that one. And then we made it with the crushed curry. So today, for the sake of the video, I'm going to set those aside. We're going to make these two because they're my favorite. So we're going to make a cherry cobbler one, and we're going to make a rich razzleberry one. And we're going to make them say thank you. Now, also for the sake of the video, I have already gone ahead and done some die cutting so that I did not have to get out my cut and emboss machine. So there's two die cuttings to this card. We have the stitched square and the scallop square. Now, these come from the Stitched Shapes dies, and this comes from the Layering Square dies. I used the largest one of each. All right, I've already done that. Then we have our card base, which measures at 5.5 by 8.5. And if you were to score it, it would be at 4 1/4. I did not score mine. I'm just going to fold it in half and use my bone folder to varnish it in. Now, I have two pieces of basic white, and then I have a piece of cherry cobbler. And these measurements will be the same for the other card as well. The larger piece of basic white is measured at 4 by 5 1/4. That's actually going to go on the inside of our card. I am not putting any sentiments on the inside of the card. So let's go ahead and just place that on the inside of the card. So that's done. Now, the second layer is the cherry cobbler, and I did this at 3 3/4 by 5. I wanted it a little bit smaller than this size because I wanted the black frame to be a little bit more. And then the basic white piece that is on this, the third layer, I guess, the second layer it would be, if you're not counting the card base. This one then measures at 3.5 by 475, or by 4 3/4, 475. Now I'm thinking money. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some stamping first. We are going to use our Stamparatus today, but we're going to do this stamping first on the squares. So we need cherry cobbler ink pad, and then we need our StazOn, and we're going to use both of these butterfly images. We're also going to use the little dots. We're also going to use Old Olive because that's going to be what we're going to use for the leaves. And we have both images of the leaves. This is called distinct stamping, I guess is how you want to say it. Distinctive stamping. So it kind of gives like, it's two-step stamping that kind of gives to me what looks like more of like a watercolor look afterwards. I do stamp off, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my ink pads open here. And we're going to go ahead and start. So I'm going to start with the butterfly first because that's my center and I want to start with that first. And I'm going to do the cherry cobbler part first. Now, when I do this, I'm going to ink this up. I am going to stamp off one time. I want to stamp off one time because when I come back through with the little dots, I want the dots to be darker than the inside of the butterfly. So I'm just going to come over here to my thing and I'm just going to stamp off. And I'm just going to press like that. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my StazOn for my butterfly. And I really, really, really want to get that nice and dark. So I want to make sure that that's nice and dark because I want it to be that rich black. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of angle it a little off to the side. And I'm just going to press on it, give it some pressure. And I'm going to peel that off just like that. Yay, perfect. All right, now I want to come back through with my little dots, and this is where I do not want to stamp off. This is where I actually want it to be a little darker. Okay, so I'm just going to go like that. Now we have our leaves. I am going to move these a little bit out of the way because I can be a very messy stamper. See, look at, I just grabbed the Old Olive and I already have it on my fingers. Good thing that I noticed that before I started touching my white square. So I'm just gonna get a wet wipe out because I definitely don't want to ruin my work of art here. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing with this piece. And I'm going to stamp off, and I just really need the corner of this. This is all I'm doing. And I'm just going to kind of stamp off over here, and then I'm going to kind of stamp right there. I'm going to turn it around like this. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to do it like that. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it with the part of the leaf that actually has like the vines in it. Only this time I'm not going to stamp off because I want it to look like it's light and dark Old Olive. There we go. Set that aside, and there is our square. So now that we have that done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get out my dimensionals because I'm going to really kind of give this some height. And I'm going to, I always put one in the center because I don't like a saggy center. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center that into this. Now, because I have my dimensionals out, I'm also going to pop this part onto the card. I kind of like the whole 3D look, but I'm not going to apply it just yet. Right now, we're just going to set this aside because we need to now get out our sentiment for the bottom. So this is where I am going to get out, well, first of all, I'm going to move this, my Stamparatus. Now, we're going to use the Stamparatus, and right here, we're going to be inking on this. This does have an angle. If you take your stamp set and you place that right underneath there, it'll be a flat surface. It's a lot easier. So I have not yet put this on my Stamparatus because I want to show you how I work this. For those of you who have never used a Stamparatus or are curious about it, this is a great video to show you. These are our magnets. As you notice, I have one, oh, see, that came too close. Perfect example of what I was just about ready to say, and that scared me. So as you can see, I have one that's broken. These are extremely, extremely, extremely magnetic. I mean, the force that pulls them, I can feel the force right here. They are super strong. So what happened and why mine broke was because I got them too close and they went like this and it broke. So you do not want to put them very close. You definitely want to keep them separated. And I have right now painter's tape around it. You can use painter's tape, washi tape. That's just so that I can pick them up because they are so strong. All right, so let's put our piece of Whisper White paper, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in one corner and this in another corner. Now, I want these to be at the very bottom, so I'm going to position it where I would like to see it on the Whisper White. And then I'm going to bring my plate down and I'm just going to lift it up so that it's there, okay? I'm going to use the StazOn, and this is perfect because sometimes you don't always get it as dark as you want it to when you're stamping. And if you're using the Stamparatus, you can go over it again because you know you're going to get it in that exact same spot. So let's see how dark this works. We're just going to press on this. All right, now I'm happy with that image, so I wouldn't do it again. But let's say this is not dark or the T didn't get all the way stamped. You could, and I will do it just for the sake of it, you could ink it back up again, and it is going to be in the same exact spot. Voila. I love the Stamparatus for many reasons, but mainly for that reason. Okay, so I have this. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place this part flat onto my cherry cobbler piece. And then I'm also going to place this part flat onto my card base. And I'm going to center it because we want the basic black to be like a framed around. And now we can go ahead and we can place this on the top. So we're going to pop it up because the only thing that really has the dimension is the square. We're going to center that. There you go. What a perfect thank you card. Again, it could be any card, but that is pretty. I really like that font with this. This is very pretty. All right, let's go ahead and make another one, another thank you, but we're going to use the Rich Razzleberry. So let's get out our card, and I have it all cut and prepped. So I'm going to, again, fold my card in half and varnish in the score lines. I'm going to make sure I grab the bigger piece of basic black or basic white because that's going to be the inside of our card. And if you want to stamp a sentiment on the inside, you can totally do that. Let's see here. Let's do this part first. So I want to make sure that this is clean. So I have here, I do use my stamping scrub, but sometimes I also use our shams, and I always wet them and put them in one of our stamp cases. This time, sometimes I leave them bigger. This one I cut up because then it's easier for me just to hold and clean off the stamp like this. So I do want to make sure that that one's cleaned off because we're changing color with that. Oops, and same with this one. The green and the green and the stays on where we don't need to clean because we're keeping that the same color. And then I'm just going to kind of stamp off one time here just to make sure that there's not any ickies. You know what I mean? So let's do the same thing with the rich raspberry. We're going to ink this up and we're going to stamp off one time and we're going to center that. Perfect. And then we're going to get out the other part of the butterfly and we want to really ink that up. And we're going to press that. See, that didn't get very dark, did it? Oh, I'm scared to do that. That's all right. We're going to leave that because if I do it again, it's going to not look as good. All right, so I'm going to do this. There is something you can do. I mean, you could always grab your, black marker, your Stampin' Right marker, and you could always, let's see if I can do this without messing it up. You can always go like this when that happens, or you could just use your Stamparatus for this part as well. Oh, see, look at that, girl. Look at that. I was going to say ladies, but you know what? There may be some gentlemen watching me, so I'm sorry for that. All right. There we go. Voila. I fixed it. Okay. Now we have to do our green, our old olive in the corner. So we're going to get out that. And I forgot to stamp off on that. So that one's going to be a little bit darker because I was chatting. That's all right. It's not too bad. Let's see if we can get it to look. Oh, see, we can still get it. Actually, I kind of like it because now it looks different colors, and that is what would happen with leaves. All right, so let's go ahead now and get our dimensionals on there again. Peel them off. Center it. Put our dimensionals on here. Okay, now let's get our Stamparatus back out. And we're going to, first of all, make sure it's where I want it. So I'm going to slide this piece over a little bit because I want this to be more centered. Because that's, yep, that would be where I would want it. So we're going to go ahead and place that like that. Ink this up. Press down. Perfect. Voila, is what I like to say. Now let's go ahead and shut this before I get crazy and stick my finger in there, because that has happened to me. All right, and we'll just place that. Okay, and place that again, leaving the basic black frame. And now we can put this on top. All right. Voila. All right, guys, what do you think? All right, so we have the cherry cobbler and the welcome Welcome to our team and the thank you. And same with the Rich Razzleberry. I love them. I love both of these different fonts with it. This card, I love this card. I'm now in love with this stamp set, which, again, I'm going to be honest, it wasn't my favorite. I saw it and I liked it, but then I had a hard time with it. Now I'm loving it. I love this. I think I'm going to try it now next with the hummingbird. You could do the same card with the hummingbird, or you could do the same card with the hummingbird, but maybe pick a different, maybe not do Regals, even though I like the Regals. Maybe try it in the Brights. That would be pretty too. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed these cards. I hope you guys were inspired by these stamp sets. If you are interested in placing an order so that you could get these stamp sets, you would just go to amandasinspirationstation.com. You can click shop now that way. And I do have a hostess code right there, which will also be on the blog underneath. And it'll also be underneath the YouTube video. If your order is $150 though or more, because you want both these stamp sets, and this is a $100 order and this is $50, do not use that hostess code. You will want to collect your own hostess dollars. And if your order is $150, that's $15 in free hostess money that you can pick out something for $15. So, and if you're interested in purchasing the starter kit, which is a great value. That starter kit is $99 plus tax. Shipping is completely free. You get to pick out $125 worth of whatever product you want. You only pay the $99 plus tax. Shipping is free. So right there, you're automatically getting $26. You could join the team, Crafty Cats, and then underneath your supply order, you could get this stamp set as well. So if you have any questions on that, no pressure, but I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.